Hey friends, I'm Jessica. Welcome back to Mud+Roots Flower Farm. We are in episode 2. Obviously, you can tell we are in Braves country, and today on the first day of the season, we rep the A. So go Braves tonight as they take on their first opponents of the season. So as we go ahead and walk to our garden, this weekend my family and I worked really hard on trying to go through what already was and make it something new. So as we walk this way, you'll notice that I have a climbing rose essentially. Her name is Peggy Martin, and we got her from Barn of Blooms in Alabama. So if you are looking for a really great place that you can go by and purchase perennials, I would definitely check them out. So let's go ahead and come on in. All right, so first off, let's go ahead and take a peek at what I've done here. So obviously I don't have any barrier down, I don't have any pine straw or any mulch to put down yet because we're still kind of in the planting stage. But here, what I want you to be able to see is that these are daylilies, and what I have done, and my most favorite thing about daylilies, one, obviously they're that perennial, and you can plant them anywhere and they will survive in any condition. Here though, these actually were split. So the back row was a row that we had planted last summer or last spring, and then we took parts of that, about half of each one of these, and made a second row. And I did this on both sides of our fencing to kind of give us a nice entrance as we come into the garden. So as we walk into the garden, you can kind of tell that we've really been doing a lot of work. I've got a clear defined walkway right here, and then some rows of lots of other things going on. So let's talk about what we changed. So over here on this side, what we had was 2 garden boxes. If you follow us on Instagram or on TikTok, you will have seen those boxes there. So they were made out of 2x4s. I've had them there for about 8 years. We needed to take them down to get ready for what I want to plant here or to have here in the future. So here we took those down. I had a row of peonies and a row of blueberry bushes. And so I've moved them to other places. So that's what I want to talk to you about. All right, guys, so this tiller deserves a moment of its own. Let me just go ahead and say that it was gifted to us by my husband's granddaddy, who has since passed. But the significance of not only using this equipment, it came from him, and he had a love of gardening, but it's also a way to kind of give back to him and his legacy, because this piece of equipment, who I know he worked with on his piece of property, and whether it's growing vegetables or whether it was growing daylilies, it was something that he used, he took care of it, but now it is a piece of equipment that we're using to grow and expand our farm here into something beautiful for us, but also for our children. So moving on, thinking about moving those boxes. So in one of the 2 boxes, what we have planted were peonies. And these peonies, as you know, are very, very fragile. So in the research that I did, you were supposed to wait till late fall to move them. But I needed them moved. I'm a little bit impatient. So I needed to go ahead and move them. So I dug them up. My husband and my son have both helped, and so we have transplanted them here. We literally took them from the ground and put them right back into the same soil, and you can see that they are continuing to grow. So they still have those buds on them. They are different varieties. I got these before I really knew a whole lot about peonies, to know what to do with them, how to grow them, or even what color their blooms were going to be honest. So I am so excited to have these. Most of these are 2 to 3 years old. Last year they gave us lots of blooms and blossoms, and so I hope that we will continue to get more of those, because I do plan to put some of those in special bouquets this summer. So if we head this way, the other thing that I said was in our boxes was blueberries. Again, spring is not the ideal time to transplant things, but we took them straight out of the ground and placed them right back into the same dirt with a little bit of water and a little bit of fertilizer. And so far, they're hanging on. So let's go check them out. All right, you guys have to just overlook the things that still need to be done in the yard, like the stump that my husband's got to grind. We're gonna get there. But what we have here is I have planted each one of my blueberries. And so I have 2 that are one variety, and I have a different variety here. These are about 4 or 5 years old, and they have been growing, and they do give us lots of blueberries. Now, I will say last year, the scavengers around the yard ate more blueberries than me. But the reason that I put them here is because if you'll look down this way, you can see our 3 peach trees. So what I would like to be able to do here with our peach trees is to line them up, and then our blueberries are going this way. So this kind of becomes like a barrier for the entry into our flower farm, into the flower fields, if you will. These peach trees are two different varieties. This peach tree is a Georgia peach. She has the fruit on it is more of like a white flesh on the inside when you bite into the peach, very, very sweet. The two other peach trees are Alberta peach trees. They produce a lot more peaches than the Georgia peach does, but all delicious. Last year I harvested about 80 peaches from the 3 trees, which I was very, very excited about. So another thing, if you kind of look over this way, and really to get a good perspective, let's walk this way. All right, so to give you kind of a perspective, what I'm hoping to get from this is that when you walk into this section of the garden, obviously we have a nice cleared off walkway that we want to have. And so I've not quite decided what I want to do with the 2 side beds that were already flower garden beds and vegetable beds. I've not quite decided what I want to do with those, but past the bench, there's a picnic table, but past that is where I'm hoping to be able to construct a greenhouse out of old one-pane windows that were gifted to us from some friends. So things that are just sitting around, I really want that to be a premise of what we're doing here. I don't want the farm to be something that we're having to go and spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on unless it's absolutely necessary. If it's something that I can repurpose and redo to make beautiful and to be useful again, that is my goal. So let's walk this way. So past the area that we're going to hopefully have, or beside, I guess I should say, beside where we want to be able to put a greenhouse, one of the other things I want to be able to create this summer so that we can enjoy it later in the summer and into the fall is a gourd archway. So come this way. So this is just a simple cattle gate that we got from Tractor Supply years ago. It has been in my garden and has always been an arch. That was the purpose that we bought it for. But now I've kind of made it a little bit tighter so it's more of a walkway. I do want it to be a side entrance into the garden, and then my hope is that as you turn this direction, you're able to walk into the side of the greenhouse. So the greenhouse, I want it to be here, having this nice gourd entrance there. I thought something was coming to get us, but it's just our Great Pyrenees, Charlie. So come on this way. Let's take a peek into the flower fields, or what will be the flower fields. Obviously a lot of work to do, so no judgment on this channel. I know that there's a lot of yard work that needs to take place. We're not Better Homes and Garden yet. I hope that one day that's something that I'll have the opportunity to be a part of. But right now, I really want to show the nitty gritty. Like, what does it take to start? What does it look like? Instead of showing in the society everything that's perfect right out the gate, I think there's more meaning behind seeing and watching things grow. So, past the blueberry bushes, you can see here where we have already tilled up one section that we plan to plant our flowers. Again, repurposing things. So this is just the covering that we had on the ground in that middle section that was our walkway. So we've just pulled this up. It's what I had on Saturday. We laid it back on the ground. Our plan is to kind of move it to kill some of that grass to make it a little easier as we pick it out of this section. Then after we finish up, probably this weekend, is to continue, falling into a hole over here. Our plan is to continue the second section of the flower field on that side over there. So since Mother Nature and my husband had to take down some trees to kind of clear up some of this area over here, we've got to get those things cleaned up. But then also these are kind of the trees that we were talking about here. We want to cut down a few more of these trees to make sure that the flower garden will get as much sunlight as possible without taking down unnecessary trees. And so we're taking down that, cleaning that up. So we're really excited with what's happening around here. I want to give you a quick update on where we are with the flowers that we planted together and the plants that I have planted since then. So come on. So in my space, yes, there's a TV that was taken from a teenager. But this is where we are. So I have a space, just a rack that we pulled out of the garage, and then I've ran out of space in my rack. So now I have these flowers sitting on the floor. These here, these are zinnias that I planted this past weekend. So I have 4 sets of those. I do try to plan to do succession planting with them. Hopefully that works out good, but they are still germinating. So they still have the tops on them, and you can kind of see those up there at the top. Then down here on the bottom, these are my dahlias. They are about a week old. So I actually planted all 500 of these right off the bat. So these are some that I've taken and I've transplanted them because this is where we started. And when I was planting my zinnias this past weekend, I started noticing that my little beauties are loving life and are growing really, really well. So I transplanted them. So you can really tell what that transplanting has done for them. Here. And of course he's thirsty because he always is. So give me a minute. Okay. So then here's what we actually started with first. So these are lavender and this is my snapdragons. So to start with, they really were doing great. They germinated well. They came back together. All right, I came back outside to tell you about the lavender and the snapdragons. So I started with the DIY soil. Things were going great. They germinated. The sprouts started popping through the soil. And then after about 2 weeks, they just seemed to stop anything. I did a little research and I thought, okay, well, maybe they have a nutrients deficit. So I gave them more nitrogen. And they still just really weren't doing anything. They weren't really dying completely off, but I can tell they weren't very happy with me. So after some researching and kind of just digging through, I decided to replant them in fresh soil because I was worried that I may have overwatered them or that there may be something going on with the soil. So when I repotted them, I did put them in new soil, and it's been probably about 5 days. And they are definitely taking to it. They seem to be now growing. I guess they had just kind of stunted where they were at that time, but they are now growing and they're doing much better and they're thriving. So I do think that between germination and then between possibly overwatering, whatever that stunting was going on, that I did lose some of them, but after transplanting them over, I think I was able to keep a good bit of them. So my hope is that I can still have snapdragons in the garden this summer and in this spring and go from there. So ultimately, everything has been really, really great, going really, really good. I am starting to get a little nervous about the hardening process, like how to take those flowers out into the garden and getting them used to the sunlight and to the wind and all the other elements outside, and then bringing them back in. So I think once you go through all of this, you just hope for the best and hope that they're going to continue to live. So I still have, because I'm going to try to do the zinnias in succession planting, I still have more of those to do to plant, and then I also have my basil that I'm going to use for my greenery, and I have cosmos that I still have to plant. Then, of course, once we get everything in the ground, I'm going to direct sow sunflowers. So far, everything's been going good. I do have more information to come on how I plan to market some of this here at home from our own property, but also from local markets and things like that. So I've been looking for my niche to be able to stand out and be something different, but also be wholesome and taking old things and making them new again. So more to come on that. Thanks again for joining us. If you found this slightly entertaining, or that you just want to learn more and come along with the journey because maybe you're interested in starting a small flower garden or something much larger, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, as I hope that I get better with this and it not feel so strange, that there'll be more content to share. And maybe I'll stop saying I know that's not good. Y'all take care. Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.